Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
Hello, and thanks for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. Hope you guys are having a safe and enjoyable holiday season out there. Today, I want to talk to you about the title of this podcast, I should say, is Don't Let Knowing Prevent You from Learning. I've heard it said that knowing is the enemy of learning. So my challenge to you going into 2025 is don't let knowing prevent you from learning. If you're listening to my podcast, there's something in you that's driving you to want to get better, to live a better life, to get better results, to change something that you don't like about yourself or your circumstances or your situation. So that's what today's podcast is kind of going to focus on. Start winding down 2024 and start thinking about 2025. Usually a lot of people do a lot of reflecting and a lot of forward thinking. And that's what I want to help you do is with some thoughts here. So I want to open up today's podcast with a quote from Warren Bennis. He had this to say: "One of the marvelous things about life is that any gaps in your education can be filled. Whatever your age or situation, by reading and thinking about what you read." Wow, that's a powerful quote I'm sharing with you from my quote file today. It's very powerful to me because I've lived that quote. And I'm going to say it again. One of the marvelous things about life is that any gaps in your education can be filled, whatever your age or situation, by reading and thinking about what you read. That's what I do every day. You're probably tired of hearing it if you're a regular listener. 16 plus years doing that right there every day. Reading and thinking about what I've read over and over and over, day after day. 16 years has allowed me to transform my life. And I promise you, I've filled in some gaps in my education. So that's what I want to encourage you to do. You know, listening to podcasts is kind of the equivalent of reading. Long as you hit the pause button and think about what I just said or what you just thought. And then once you get that thought out of your mind, hit the play button and continue on. But when you start thinking, it was something for me when I started listening to audio books and podcasts. I had to train my brain that when I started thinking about something I just heard, when I heard something that was thought-provoking, literally caused me to start thinking, I had to train myself to hit that pause button on whatever device I was listening to the podcast or audio book on, so that I could think and not miss anything. Because if you don't train yourself to do that, when you're listening, you hear something and gets your attention, it may be 5 or 10 minutes before you paying attention to whatever's the audio you're listening to, and then you done miss some stuff. And a lot of people don't have the discipline to go back and when their mind's clear and start listening again. Don't make turning pages and logging minutes of audio, getting past the audio. Just the point is, I got to listen to so many minutes of audio, or I got to read so many pages. Don't make that the point. The point is to read and think. Don't worry about. There's no race. Just soak up some knowledge, whether it's reading or audio or video, and then pause and think about it. And literally, if you're on some type of device, hit the pause button and think about it, and then carry on. So the key to living an above average life is work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's what you got to do. If you want a better life, if you want better results at home and at work, whatever that means, you got to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. I know a lot of people in life, they're struggling. They work a lot of hours. They work a lot of hard hours. A lot of blue collar folks I know. I mean, I used to be one of them. working 70, 80 hours a week consistently, 7 days a week, night shifts, hot, dirty, nasty, cold, all kind of jobs. I was working hard on my job, but back in those days, I wasn't working on me at all. When I got off work, I was done. You know what that guaranteed me? I got to go back Monday and do the exact same thing. And it wasn't just Monday. It was, back in those days, it was every day. So it didn't matter what day it was. Every day was a work day. I was needy and greedy. I needed some money, and whenever they offered me overtime, I was always volunteering to get it. But the key to living an above average life is work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And I'm gonna tell you what, most people ain't got that ability. Most people just want to do what I was doing back in those days. Life's hard, work's hard. They just want to escape. When they ain't got to be at work, they want to escape. You can do that as long as you want to. But I promise you this, as long as that's what you do, you're going to get to do it. You're going to have to do it because there ain't going to be any other options. Go to work, escape from that life, go back to work. Escape. Sometimes people go to work to escape from the life they got at home. Some people get off work, they don't want to be at home, so they escape to whatever hobbies they have where they can just be by themselves. Hunting, fishing, that sort of thing, whatever it may be. Fitness, exercise, mountain biking, road biking, motorcycle riding. Lots of things people can do to get alone, but if that's the life you've got, you got options. You just gotta exercise those options. You got to put them into play. So I want to share a quote with you from John Maxwell, another quote from my quote file today. This is pretty cool when you think about growing and developing yourself, and I can validate it 100%. This is what John says. He said, plants need to grow, and though they may grow every day, it will not show every day. It takes a lot of growing to do a little showing. How about that? That's a great quote right there. I like the end. I like the way it ends. It takes a lot of growing to do a little showing. Especially, I'm going to add on, especially when it comes to character development. And that's what he's talking about. He's using this, the analogy of a plant growing. You go watch a plant grow, you ain't going to see it grow. You come back every week or two and watch it, though, you're going to see it grow from week to week. But you look at it every day, you ain't going to notice it. Kind of like losing weight. You ain't going to notice it today or tomorrow or the next day. You keep doing what you need to do to lose weight, eventually it's going to be gone. You keep doing what you need to do to grow, eventually you're going to be performing at the next level and beyond, whatever that means for you. But I'm going to tell you the problem that a lot of people have, and I suffered from this problem for many, many years early on. I didn't know better. I didn't have somebody like me to listen to, or there were plenty of books out there, but no one had ever introduced me to it. I was not proactive enough to get out and discover all this stuff. I was just doing what I saw everybody else doing, going to work, going home, escaping, trying to get by. So there's a lot of people that can't get ahead because they spend major time doing minor things. That's a spin off a quote I heard from Jim Rohn. I don't remember exactly how he said his. I know this is not exactly the way he quoted it or said it, or I would have had him quoted it right here, but I'm sure that's where I got this thought for that line because it relates to something I heard him say. Some people can't get ahead because they spend major time doing minor things. Wow. So see, some people don't work 70 and 80 hours a week, 7 days a week. That's what I used to be doing. I don't know if that's what you do or not. I'm just using myself as an example. But what I know, though, there's a lot of people that only work 40, 50 hours a week. They spend major time doing minor things. They got a lot more time to do that than I did when I was working. But we all got time that we focus on minor things. Hey, check this out. There's some people, they don't even have a job. They're not even working. They're not even making any money. Guess what they're doing? They spending major time doing minor things. They've got so good at it that they don't even have a job. I hope that's not you. But if it is you, you need to figure out how to access all this free stuff in the world, books in libraries, online availability of tons of stuff. A lot of people who don't have a job, they still got phones. They still got Wi-Fi access. They can listen to a podcast like this, and there's thousands and thousands of them from different people. Tons of videos on YouTube and other platforms. People like me out there trying to help you get ahead. But those people who are majoring in minor things, until they figure out how to stop doing that, they ain't going to get there. What do? Some of them play games, video games. Their life might suck. You talk to them, they're going to tell you their life sucks, or just look at them and you can see that their life sucks. But they got time for video games. They got time for partying. They got time for maybe they playing golf. Golf's not a bad thing. Maybe they playing golf though. If their life ain't the way it needs to be, if they're playing golf, there's a good chance they're just escaping. And I'm just using examples that people's hobbies. None of these things necessarily bad, but if your life ain't the way you want it to be, and you spending major time doing these minor things, you need to buckle your seatbelt and get busy, taking responsibility for who you are, where you are, who you want to become, and where you want to be. And you ain't got to do that just because 2025 is coming. You do that anytime. So when we're talking about work, being on the job, you don't get paid for the time you work. You get paid for the value you create while you're working. A lot of people want to get paid more, but they don't want to add any more value. And one of those reasons is because they're spending major time doing minor things. You need to spend major time on major things like becoming more valuable. You may have heard me say this before. If you want to be successful, don't focus on being successful. You may not ever become successful. If you want to be successful, focus on becoming more valuable. You become more valuable, I promise you, someone else is going to make you more successful. That assumes while you're becoming valuable, you're working on character and competency. Most people's problem is the character, it's not their competency. But if they don't have enough competency, that's still a character issue. Why don't they? Why won't they do what it takes to get the competency that they need, the education, the skills, the knowledge to do what they want to do? You may have to stair step it. You may not go from where you at to where you want to be. You may have to take little steps, learn some other things, create some cushion in your life, some space, so that you got time to go work on those things you want to do, or you got time to pay for some education that you want to get, or you got to go start in an industry at the bottom that you want to be in that you ain't never worked in. So you don't get to start at the top. You may have to get yourself positioned so that you can take a pay cut or whatever and start at the bottom, work your way up. But if you focus on character and competency, character primarily, that's the major thing. That's one of them things when we say people spend major time doing minor things. A lot of times people spend major time developing their competency, when what they need to be doing is developing their character. So in that case, even though someone's developing competency, that's a minor thing, because what's causing them their problems is character flaws. So that's a major thing, major problem, major issue they need to work on. What you got to know though is personal growth and development is an inside job that requires confidence, humility, and this is a key piece right here. And ultimately, you got to have a desire to get better. You got to say no to the status quo. You got to get off of that treadmill, head in a new direction. And I'm gonna tell you this: as a leader, if you're a formal authority leader, if you're in a leadership position, it's your responsibility to support your team. It's your responsibility to grow and develop your team. I meet leaders, people in leadership positions. I meet them all over the country. The majority of the ones I meet, they're not ever doing any development with their team beyond what's required for them to do the job. Zero. That's what most leaders of people, which means they're managers of people. They're not leaders of people. Leader is a loosely used term right here. Most people call the boss a leader, but really most bosses are managers of people. If you're a boss, you're a formal authority leader, you're in a leadership position, you're not growing and developing your team's character, you're not developing them beyond what's required to do the job, the competency stuff, if you're not developing their character, I got some sad news for you. You're not a leader of people, you're a manager of people. Now, you may be developing yourself. You may be listening to this podcast because you're developing you. That's phenomenal. That means you're leading yourself well. But if you're not developing your team, you're not leading them well. You're likely just managing them, using them as a tool in the process to accomplish the mission at whatever organization you're working at. But when you take on the responsibility of supporting the growth and development of your team, when you do that, they're going to support you at an entirely different level. There's research study that shows people who follow a leader because they want to are 40% more productive than people who follow a leader because they have to. So I'm just mixing in a little leadership stuff for you there, because everyone is a leader because people have influence with other people. Leadership is influence. But what I was just telling you relates to someone who is actually in a leadership position. So most often in blue-collar industries, someone who demonstrates their ability to do a job well is the one promoted into a leadership position. That's why I was just sharing with you, most people in leadership positions don't develop their people. It's because being developed is not what got them there. What got them there was they demonstrated an ability to do their job well. Those are the people who usually get promoted. Most of them have never had a leader who's developed them relative to character development, personal growth. They haven't even developed them to lead. They may have developed them to do their job. Then they got promoted because they could do their job well, but no one's ever taught them to lead. Then they get promoted because they did a good job. Then the vast majority of those folks struggle at leading others well. Because doing a good job and motivating and inspiring someone else to do a good job is not the same thing. It's a completely different skill set. So most of these people who get promoted because they did a great job, they can manage their team, tell them what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, why not to do it, all that sort of stuff, because they've done it. They can manage their team, treat them like objects, but few can lead their team. And most of these people, they never even read a leadership book. They struggle. The bosses blame them, and round they go. But often the people who've had the courage to step up when asked to step up, when they're given an opportunity to get promoted, they end up being bashed and blamed by their boss when they struggle. And I'm going to tell you, most of the time, that boss ain't never had any leadership development. Their boss's boss ain't ever had any leadership development. Most of the time, it goes all the way to the top. It's just a chain of managers. Called the org chart, right? Most places. But a boss who likely hasn't had any leadership development, not going to be in a position to offer any leadership development. The lack of leadership development above always leads to frustrations below. That's what's going on. But ultimately in your life, I want you to forget about what the boss is or isn't doing for you. What are you doing for you? You listen to this podcast right now, so you already ahead of the pack. But there's a lot of difference between listening and applying. I'm glad that you're listening, but are you applying what you're learning in your life? Are you buying books, reading these books, highlighting the pages, folding the pages, Writing notes in the book if you want to. Keeping that book, not giving it away. Using it as a tool. So I want to share a quote with you from Stephen R. Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. My favorite book of all time, although it ain't for everybody. I'll go and tell you that. A lot of people hear me say that. They read the book or start reading the book. I hear people say, oh, I put that thing down, man. They like my books. My books have short chapters, short paragraphs. The book is short. It's intended for blue-collar folks like me who don't like to read. So I made it interesting. Go to bluecollarleadership.com/download, and you can preview a whole lot of my books. If you like them, buy the book. Make it a tool. Change your life with it. I know you can do that because I've done it myself. Stephen R. Covey, he had this to say. Independent will is our capacity to act. It gives us the power to transcend our paradigms, which is how we see the world, to swim upstream, to rewrite our scripts, to act based on principle rather than reacting based on emotion or circumstance. That's a pretty powerful quote from Dr. Stephen Covey. He's talking about we can swim upstream. We can rewrite our scripts. We can rescript who we are. We can begin to act based on principles rather than emotions, and versus reacting to our circumstance. We can change our circumstances. Those who are the best at leading themselves well will also be best at modeling and teaching others to do the same. What's that tell you right there? What am I telling you? When I say those of us who are best at leading ourselves well, we're going to also be the best at modeling and teaching others to do the same. That means we're going to become leaders. We're going to be seen as leaders. We're probably going to get raises. We're probably going to get promotions. And I'll tell you real quick, if you want to separate yourself, get on our bluecollarleadership.com/academy page. We got some individual online courses. They're only $99. People waste $99 at the bar on a Friday and Saturday night, or at a restaurant, eating some junk food somewhere, or just on all kinds of things, minor things. This course I'm telling you about is a major thing. These courses are about 7.5 hours. You can get on there. When you get done, you're going to get a certificate of completion. You can take that up to the HR department when you're looking to bid on jobs internally or get promoted internally at the organization you work at. You can make copies of these things. You can put them in with your resume or with your file when you apply for jobs inside of other companies. It's going to separate you. What you learn, hopefully, is going to separate you tremendously. But just having that document and being able to talk about the course you went through, and you'll have a 30-page workbook that comes with it. You can print out, save that thing too. And you're going to become more valuable. If you're invested in yourself, that's going to demonstrate to others that you're worth investing in. I learned a long time ago from John Maxwell. He said, if we want to invest in ourselves, why should anyone else? That's when I got busy. And it started paying off. There ain't nothing stopping you but you. So when it comes to building high-impact team players, if you are a leader, or you want to be a high-impact team player, or you are the leader that's wanting to develop high-impact team players, you got to know dramatically different values always lead to dramatically different results. The difference between a high-impact player and a low-impact player is their values. The difference between a high-impact leader and a low-impact leader is their values. The difference between a high-impact individual and a low-impact individual is their values. Values determine how we think, what we do, and how we do it. You want to change your life, change your values. The values you got have led you to the life you're living now. And I'm telling you, it's hard to change your values. But it's possible. A lot of people have done it. There's lots of motivational stories out there to be listened to of people who turned their life around. I'm one of them. One of my books is that'll help you in that area is 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation, How to Become Your Best Self. Highly encourage you. Go check out that book. I got a podcast series on it. I think it starts at episode 159, but there's a lot in the book that's not in that series. You need to get it. You can preview it at bluecollarleadership.com/download. But high impact players, high impact individuals, high impact leaders, they don't just do things different. But because their character is different, they are different. They're not just doing things different, they are different. High impact people are different kind of people than low impact people. And it's all due to their values. And that's what's cool. You can change yours at any time. It's what Dr. Covey was talking about in the quote I shared earlier. You can re-script your life. You can change. I did it. I've done it. I know. That's why I'm so passionate about it. It's a choice. The good thing about no matter how many bad choices you made in your life, you know what's awesome? You come loaded with an unlimited supply of choices. Good and bad. You make bad choices your whole life, or you make good choices your whole life. And as long as you're alive, you still got the ability to make some more. That's what I encourage you to do is you roll into 2025, start making some different choices. Maybe all you ever done is listen to this podcast. That's awesome. Maybe you need to think about buying some books. They don't have to be my books, but if you listen to my podcast, you like what I'm talking about, I got some great books on this content. So does my wife, Rhea. You may need to get into the online courses that I was telling you about earlier. We've got some of those. A lot of other people have them. Ours is a super good deal. When you can go through a 7.5-hour course with me and Rhea, my wife, you get a 30-page downloadable workbook that you can print. You can do that for $99. That is crazy. But the reason we do that is we ain't trying to make a lot of money. We're trying to make a lot of difference. So I want to encourage you to keep climbing. Not because you'll actually make it to the top, because we don't ever make it to the top. The mountain I'm talking about climbing, you don't ever get to the top. You keep climbing because the higher you climb, the better the view, meaning your life's going to be better. And also, the better equipped you will be to help other people climb. That's why I want you to keep climbing. That's why I'm helping you to keep climbing. Those books and those seminars and all that money that I spent early in my life, in my career, or I should say early in this 16-year journey I've been on. I didn't start it till 2008. I was born in 1969, so it took me a while to get intentional. But what I'm doing today is I'm still climbing. I'm helping other people climb. That's what I want for you. Our country, our world needs some help. Your community, your organization, your family, they need some help. Guess who needs the help? All those people. You do. That's why I'm on here investing my time. I don't get paid for this. I don't even know who listens to it. Sometimes some people call me. If you listen, you want to chat sometime, you're getting value out of it. You want to get on an interview with me on my YouTube channel, you can check out the Real People Getting Real Results at Blue Collar Leadership YouTube channel. Look at that playlist. There's about 31 or 32, something like that, interviews on there now. You can be one of those folks. If you've been listening to me or reading my content, you're getting results in your life. I don't care what level you're at. I don't care what kind of industry you're in. I don't care. None of that matters. What matters is are you spending some major time focused on major things, and are you getting results? If so, I'd like to interview you. If not, go check out those interviews. Those are a lot of people that I know personally who are helping me help people like you. And if you're one of those people and you're still listening to the podcast, thank you for supporting me as I support other people. All right, folks. I hope you enjoying the holidays again. Stay safe. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.